Right. Hello, hello, hello. We are here. I'm host Yolanda Hinton of FYI After Dark. And with me is co-host Edward Everett, aka Mr. E. Mr.
And a
E, how you
pleasant,
doing this evening?
I'm doing wonderful, and a pleasant good afternoon to everyone. And thank y'all so much for joining FYI After Dark. I'm the co-host Ed Everett. You can catch us on early morning show at Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 on WPCE 1400, WGPL 1350, WMVA 88.9, and 95.3. WPCE 95.3 Peace, and on the World Wide Web. Yeah.
Absolutely. We are here. We were here this morning. Had a wonderful sports talk. That's our Monday FYI segment. We had a great time talking about the NFL season week 4. And I'm telling you, we are really enjoying it. And along with you all are really getting into it. You got your teams coming to our chat, and you're just excited as we are. But we're going to continue with great shows. Again, we come on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 a.m. And we want you to continue to join us, continue to support us, and we would appreciate it so, so much.
Someone please check the
I
studio.
want to welcome our sponsors. Our sponsors, first of all, let's talk about Beard Gods. Beard Gods, you can go to www.beardgods.com. That's BEARD Gods, GODZ.com. Check out all the products for men, for your hair, for your beard. Chris Hinton, who is the owner, has picks and things that you can use to keep that beard groomed and keep it from drying out. He has hats, he has hoodies, he has vitamins. And we're so glad that he chose to start this business during the pandemic. And it's really going well, Mr. E. So we want you all to visit our sponsor, beardgods.com. That's www.beardgods.com, and check him out.
That's what it's all about. Make sure you go down to Beer Gods. That's GODZ.
Absolutely. Now, look, another sponsor is Bullvic. We want you to go right now to www.beardgods. No, I just said that. BullVicAcademy.com. That's BULV as in victory, IC. Bullvic Academy. What you're going to find? You're going to find information about our anti-bullying initiative. You're going to find out information on what is bullying and why people bully. You're going to also find books, and you're going to find a brand new book, which is Bullying, number 1, right underneath your nose. Number 2, The Diary. Let me show these books, Mr. E. I have them right
That's right.
here.
Show them the book.
Hold up. Let me show them. First of all, if you all look, you'll see bullying is right underneath your nose. You can find this book online. You can go to bulvicacademy.com, and you can also go wherever books are sold. It's an ebook. It's a hard copy. It's also it's Audible. It's in English and Spanish. This is the first book, and this is for the family, for children, for schools. Please check it out. A wonderful book telling you what bullying is, who bullies, why they bully, and the places they bully, and some of the things that you can do to stop bullying. But
That's
I'm
right.
so
That's right.
proud because this is hot off the press, Mr. E. This is another book, The Diary of a Former Bully.
Yeah, yeah.
Here it is. So proud of this book. It's a wonderful book, with a great theme, great story. You all will love it. And you can find this book. Actually, this book is getting ready to be uploaded as an ebook, but you can also get the hard copy soon. You'll be able to go to bulvickacademy.com. Plus, you'll be able to go in the stores and ask for this book, and we'll give you the list of where they're available. One of the places is going to be Barnes and Noble. You'll actually be able to go to the physical store and get this book, The Diary of a Former Bully. And so we will let you know when it is up and popping. We'll let you know when you can order it. You can actually order it now. You can go online to bulvickacademy.com and you can actually ask about this book, and you can actually pre-order this book right now. And again, if you want to have this book now, bullying is right underneath your nose, you go ahead and get this book. Also, you'll find the game app that's been developed. My game app, which is Bulvic, Bulvic. It is online. You can go to your game store, Google Game Store for your Android. You can go to apple.com for your iPad and or your iPhone. Get the game, or you can go to bulvickacademy.com. The link is there too. You can go up there and get the book. But don't forget Audible. Don't forget Audible, the Audible book. You can go get the Audible book on bulvick.com or Amazon. You can get these things online everywhere. And we will appreciate you supporting bulvickacademy.com. Oh boy. So Mr. E, let's see, who else do we want to highlight? Crystal Records.
That's right.
Wait a minute. Let me get that up here, up and popping. Crystal Records, www.crystalrecords, Cristo records.com. And you can get music. You can find out more about FYI. And we would love for you all to visit and send a message that you've been there and that you are a supporter of Crystal Records and all our other sponsors. So again, we want to say thank you all for how you come and support. Thank you all our viewers. Make sure you like, share, comment in the chat. Make sure you engage with us in our conversation. If you have any questions or any concerns, any suggestions, let us know and we will be glad to answer them best as we know how.
That's right.
Mr. E, also, before we go on with our show, we want you all to follow and subscribe. Crystal Records One at YouTube, Cristo Records One. Also, look, wherever we are on social media, we want you to like, we want you to subscribe, we want you to share. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We're everywhere. And so we want you all to support and help us to just build our fan base. So today, Mr. E, I hope you've had a wonderful day. How did you enjoy Sports Talk this morning?
Well, I want you to know that today's sports talk, I'm looking at some of the comments on our show tonight. There's a lady by the name of Katrina Brown saying that good evening, we them commanders. But she just hear herself talking. But she said that Mr. E is a football bully. Okay.
Oh my Katrina, we talking about bullies. Oh my goodness, you all gonna get into it. Look at Miss Alvera, Miss Peaches. How are you? That's my beautiful friend, Peaches. She's on, and it's so glad when I see her pop on and support. Love to the family. Look, Sheila, usually she's up here. Maybe she'll pop on a little bit later, but it's good to see you. And you all that are on, make sure you like and share. Tell everybody about FYI Radio Morning Show Live and also FYI After Dark.
That's right. That's
Look,
right.
Mr. E, today, this evening, what we're going to do is we're going to tell you all a little bit about the anti-bullying rally. But first, we're going to serve a little bit of that tea. And I'm telling you, we have to serve it tonight, Mr. E, because we haven't been able on our Fridays to really get into serving it up, stirring it up, and just having a good old fun time about some of the things that are going on.
That's right. That's right. We want you to know that there is some stuff in the air. So get your cup. Get your cup. That's right. Get your cup and make sure your tea is piping hot, and so that we can go ahead and serve you a little bit of TEA. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. Mr. E, I heard that your president is doing a little bit of cutting up. A trial took place today. I know you have the story. You're going to give us a little bit of that tea. But I heard it's just off the chain. I mean, I heard it is just absolutely drama, and more drama. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
You know, Miss Hinton, when you look at Donald Trump, you'll find that he is really cutting up. Trump blasts the judge during a lunch break at trial. This judge that should be disbarred. That's what Trump said. Trump blasts the judge. What kind of mess is that? A former president, Donald Trump, called for the disbarment of a New York judge overseeing his $250 million fraud trial.
Yeah. What's going on is they had a trial on last week, and they said that Trump is guilty of fraud in his New York businesses, and we have the DA, Mrs. James, that bringing the charges against Trump. Well, the tea is that he's already been found guilty of fraud. These trials that are taking place now, it will determine how much he's got to pay the state of New York.
You know, Ms. Hinton, when you look at what he does, and according to CNN News, and what he does and how he think that he could got away with it, what we are covering here is that former President Donald Trump shows up to an opening day of the $250 million silver suit trial against him, his eldest son, and their company and Trump Organization executive in Manhattan on today. Trump court appearance turned the event into an extension of a campaign trail. Outside the courthouse, Trump said to his attendant, the trial Monday could watch his witch hunt myself. He attacked the New York attorney James for going after him instead of a violent criminal, and later criticizing Judge Arthur, who is overseeing the case. The New York Attorney General first witnessed Trump's longtime friend Donald Bender testified about financial documents from 2011, including decipherments in the price of Ivanka Trump's penthouse. Is he a mess?
Let me say, first of all, good evening to Miss Katrina Brown. So amazing, Miss Daisy. She want to make sure I acknowledge her. I told you when you say something on our chat, we're going to definitely shout you out. But you and Mr. E distracted me. Y'all was fighting already. I'm telling you, I was like, wow, Mr. E, don't jump on our guests, our fans and our friends. But good evening, Miss Katrina Brown. And the rest of you all that are on that we haven't acknowledged yet, make sure you say something in the chat so we can see your name and say hello to you. But back to the tea on your boy. Mr. E, if you could see it for yourself, it's just, I don't even know what to call it. I really, personally, I believe that Donald Trump is really stuck in a corner. He's in a box. He can't really fight the way he wants to in the courtroom. And so he is really irritable. He's angry. He's taking a peek at Miss James. He's just fidgety and don't know what to do with himself. But he gets the opportunity when he comes out in the hallway, right out the courtroom, and he is sandblasted.
That's right.
Miss James saying she's a racist and that she don't know what she's doing. He said the judge is a loony bin, a looney tune, and he's carrying on. Why? First of all, because he's already been found guilty of fraud already. Now there are other charges. I believe he had 6 charges, Mr. E,
That's
and
right.
he is at his wit's end because now you're talking about businesses that he loves, and you're talking about dollars and cents. Who wouldn't freak out when it comes to somebody trying to take your coins?
You know, Miss Hinton, they also begin to talk about how Donald Trump, how the New York attorney, Miss James, talking about suing Donald Trump, were being posted on a former president's social media account where he sat inside his Miami courthouse for the civil fault trial that James brought against him. Trump is arguing that the case which began Monday is a political motivated.
You know, that's not going to help him right now because you're in the state of New York. They're not thinking about your political. The judge already told him in some of the other cases, listen, don't even come here with that. You just like anybody else, you're going to have to face the fire. Now, this is the thing, Mr. E. You know, if it was the average person, the average Joe, the average,
you've been in jail.
You couldn't get away. Now, why in the world do we have to give privileges to somebody and not privileges to others? You've got a host of black men in prison, honey. Where was the chance with them? Where was it where they could always get out of summons and all the stuff that is getting away with, have gotten away with until now? You got too many people in jail, honey. You cannot sit up here and not let justice be served. And this is the problem that he has with Miss James. Miss James came out today. Now, he wasn't the only one coming out, Mr. E. She came out, the district attorney, and she said, I'm going to tell you right now, nobody is above the law.
Yay!
If I can't get away with it, can't nobody else get away with it. If that person over there can't get away with it, why in the world do we have to let somebody that's committing crimes, allegedly, and why do we have to give that person preferential treatment?
You know, Ms. Hinton, when we talking about this, we're talking about a man who think that he's above the law. We're talking about a fellow who been having it his way. He's so-called having his way amongst the people for such a long time. Mm-hmm. You know, when they looked at Trump's businesses, there's a Dutch bank that valued Trump net worth of $2 billion less than Trump did, but they still loaning him the money. They still loaned him the money. And, you know, because these folks got something up their sleeve because they're going to confiscate everything that he owns.
Well, they're going to try. It's a $250 million fine that Mrs. James is trying to get for the state of New York. But there's some other things, too. Now, they've already pulled his LLCs in the state of New York. And they're going to try to get him where it really, really hurts. Now, remember, this is not the first civil suit that's come against this former president. He was found guilty of harassment, sexual harassment, and another judge called it rape. I was like, whoa. And so he's paying up. But then this is the tea. Trump man don't know how to keep that chapter. He won't, that right there, it won't stop. He
That's
had to
right.
go right back and pay Miss Carol
He don't
another settlement on top of what he did because he couldn't look
keep his
of
mouth.
that pie hole.
He don't know how to keep that mouth closed because he think that he can talk his way out. He think he can con his way out. He think that if he run his mouth, he'll say some words that get people off track. He has agenda, like he's the only one that has an agenda. So what he does, he don't want to hear what somebody else has to say. He don't want to hear what the law says. All he wants to know, believe, is that he is above the law and that everybody is against him. It's a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt. That's his favorite word. You can't. It's just like John Cena in the wrestling ring, and he do like this. You can't. You can't see me. Yeah.
Absolutely. But the thing about it is, just like with anybody else, you got to come before the law. You're innocent until proven guilty. But there are some things that he's already been found guilty of. He has 91 charges that he has to face the court for. And so we're going to have to see and follow where it goes. They are trying to get him to close that
Mouth.
pie hole, and they're doing it. James Smith is trying to, district attorney, he's trying to get him to trying to get a gag. They're trying to get him to stop threatening. They're trying to get him to stop putting out a whole lot of negativity out toward the judges, the DAs, witnesses, and because it's getting critical. It's getting really critical. It's getting where he just threatened someone to kill, assassinate, or something like that, a military leader. And so they are trying to say, okay, we've been patient. We've been patient with you. I'm telling you, they're getting closer and closer of getting him gagged. And so, Fonnie Willis from the DA in Georgia she's looking and she's being patient as well. They're seeing, what they can do. Eventually, you never know if they throw out fines, if he ends up in jail before his court cases. You don't know, but people are really being very, very patient with him. And why, I don't know. I don't know if you or I could get away with it, or anybody else, but he's going to have to give an account, and they are looking very hard at putting out the gas.
Miss Hinton, when you talk about him, he's got some sidebars, some side kicks that he got that appeared in the court with him.
Well, he just threw one under the bus, Mr. E. They have the depositions now for this case, and he threw the man so far under the bus, I wanted to run and get him.
When I looked at it, he had with him in the court today his son Eric Trump,
and
an advisor, Jason Miller. Did he throw Jason Miller underneath the bus?
No, that's not the one.
Chris Cowles got into a heated exchange with Judge Arthur.
Who? Say that again.
Chris Wise.
It must be his lawyer.
Yeah, got into a heated argument with the judge. So I just don't understand what is his problem. What is going on with him? Why he can't abide by the law? What makes him think that he can't come in the courthouse? He said this: I've been sitting in the courthouse all day long instead of being in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, a lot of other places I could be at, Trump said. This horrible situation for our country.
Well, I tell you what, let me tell you what brought up the case. His own former lawyer, Cohen.
That's right.
He went before Congress and he spilled the tea. He spilled the tea, and the district attorney from New York, what? Had her ears open. And she brought charges against the former president, Donald Trump. And so, hey, people are just spilling the beans and people are just telling it like it is. And so when she heard what she heard, she was like, okay, goodness well, you're not supposed to break the law. It's all about the law for her. That's what she says. She's saying it's about the law. It's the fact that can't nobody get away over here. Can't nobody get away with it over here. And you sure not going to get away with it, no matter what position you've held. That's what she's saying, Mr. E.
And Ms. Hinton, I want to pause and go forward here and go into the courtroom. A binder testified that his accounting that worked for Trump. He said he testified that when he did the accounting for Trump organization from 2011 to 2021, he spent roughly 45% to 55% of his time on Trump related work. Binder said he prepared the documents of Trump assets and liability, and that he would take information given by his client present in the financial statement. He said that before technology improved, he would go to Trump Tower in person to obtain the necessary documents and put them in a binder. The technology changed, he said, and that he was able to get the records by email. Even though Binder was speaking in a fairly dry court accounting term, everyone in the courtroom was still fully engaged and hanging on to every word.
Mr. E, let me serve some tea. The same man, and they would letting us see the deposition. The same man that Trump threw under the bus, one of his accountants, in the deposition said he don't know nothing, not one slug about accounting. He said he didn't know nothing about. He said, but he was put in the position. Now y'all gonna see it. He said he was put in the position as an accountant, didn't know not one term, didn't know nothing about nothing. And Trump threw him under the bus so hard. It is just, I think it's Weisenberg. I think that's the name.
Yeah, he just got released from jail.
But this is the thing. The man said he did not know not one slug about accounting. Now, what is he doing the accounting? Overseeing millions of dollars. And he said he don't even know accounting terms. I said, uh-oh, this ain't good. So first of all, we want to say, James Tony, hi, y'all. How you doing? Chris Hinton. We just finished talking about beard gods. And we're glad that you're on. You all that are on, thank you for joining us. But Mr. E is just so crazy. There's so much coming out, so much to talk about. They are actually showing depositions from the case on today. And what you hear, you're just going to be just amazed. I mean, of people that's supposed to be accountants, and even his son say, I don't know nothing about the money. I don't know nothing. And so, hey, we're going to see how all this plays out. Miss James is still standing on what she said. You may not know nothing, but you're going to have to give an account of what you have done, crimes and all, allegedly.
They said during the lunch break, Trump spoke in front of cameras inside the courtroom, arguing that Ingram is a rugged judge and that James is a corrupt person and a terrible person.
He's even saying she's racist. I'm trying to figure out where did that come from.
The former president also called Ingram a Trump hater, and at one point spoke about how people are being murdered right outside in the street that nothing happened to those criminals.
Well, how he all in the criminals business?
Well,
look, he need to stop worrying about who's doing what over there and worry about what he's doing and what he has to give an account for.
Well, Trump got to be in everything. and everything. He said, we're going to be here for months with a judge that already made up his mind. It is ridiculous. Trump complained to reporters during the lunch break, armed up his attack on Ingram, whose rule in the case could cost Trump company hundreds of millions of dollars and pack ability to do business in New York. This judge that should be disbarred. This is a judge that should be out of office. This is a judge that some people say could to charge criminally for what he's doing. He's interfering with an election, and it's a disgrace, Trump said.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to see how this thing plays out. Look, you all might as well get comfortable because anybody, now this is just 6 that's going to come out of this one civil case. There are so many other cases. There are 91 criminal charges. Y'all, this going to go on for a minute. This going to go for a while. Get your teacups because I'm telling you, they're going to be stirring and serving it up because it's going to get really, really juicy. And it's just going to be, more stuff coming out and things that you wouldn't probably even believe. And so let's just keep holding on. Look at my girl, Destiny. Hey, beautiful. I hope I see you at the rally. And that goes for all you all that are on, please. We would love to see you. We would love you all to join us on October the 21st. We're going to give you information on that in a little bit, but we're going to keep serving that tea. But I tell you what, I wish you all would kind of like join into the chat because right now we're going to do a segment called You Are Not the Father.
Miss Hinton.
And let me say this quick, Mr. E, before you say something. On our morning show, we did a segment on our Wednesdays. I think it was a 2 or 3 part series. And we actually had men on that found out and discovered they were not the father. They thought they were the fathers. But I tell you what, after confessions and DNA and all kind of things, found out they were not the father. Mr. E, that was a hard segment to cover because, you're talking about going to the heart of somebody's heart when it comes to a child. And if you've already gotten yourself geared up and just excited about a newborn baby, your seed, your offspring, then all of a sudden you discover
that you're
it
not
ain't
the
yours. That's a terrible thing. But today we're going to talk about your boy, Kurt Franklin, because he has like a documentary out there, and he has discovered something. Now he has discovered his father, allegedly.
That's right.
But I don't even know if we can say allegedly. Why? Because let's talk about the story. Mr. E, give us a little bit of that tea.
Well, Miss Hinton, as I began to look up Mr. Kurt Franklin, he said, all I ever wanted was a dad.
Wow.
Kurt Franklin dreams to meet his father come true at 53 years old. The gospel pioneer Kurt Franklin released an intimate documented this month, Father's Day, a Kurt Franklin story, where he's taking view with him on a personal journey of discovering who his biological father is and recognizing with his estranged son. The document begins with Franklin telling his childhood story of being adopted at the age of 4 by a distant relative named Gertrude, who was 64. His adopted mother had no other children, and Franklin revealed that his early years was extraordinary, isolated, and lonely.
Yes.
With no siblings or cousins around. There was never a time I didn't know I was adopted. It was never a time, he said, it was never a time I didn't know that I was adopted. It was always a framework of who I was. The 19th time Grammy Award winner gospel singer shares his new document. I was raised alone in a horrible, horrible situation. Franklin candidate shares intimate details about his upbringing and challenging relationship with his mother and estranged son. The music was to possess a film document about making of his upcoming film Father's Day
Yes.
will be released October the 6th, including the song Try Love and All Things. You know, when I look at this story and when I look at him, and I go a little farther, he said, now at the funeral, uh, he said,
Well, let's talk about the first part first before you go diving into the tea. So, Mr. E, you said that he didn't know he was adopted. He
was
didn't realize he was
adopted. He
adopted.
did not know at the age of 4 when he got adopted that he was an adopted child. At the
So,
age of 4 years old.
yes, was there a father around? I know he said the lady adopted him, and
He
was there
said
a father
Gertrude.
anyway? I think there was a father, if I can recollect. I think it was someone around, but I think he, like he said, he felt like he was not in the best condition coming up. He wondered about his life, about his, existence. He felt as though he needed more stability, more support, and he needed someone to really care and nurture him. He went through a whole lot of things. And so, it's really a shame that, and like he said, at the age of 50 something years old, he's realizing, wait a minute,
53.
there's a man right down the street from me, and that's my father? What in the world? Who kept that from me? How come I'm just realizing this now?
When you look at Kurt Franklin's life, you see that this man is really, as he get older, is really having some
Yes.
challenges. Why he didn't have those challenges when he was in his 20s, why he didn't have those things when he was in 25 years old, why he wait till he get 53 years old before he decided that he wants to find out who his family members are.
Destiny said yes, that's all he ever wanted. He wanted to have a relationship with his pops,
He
with
didn't
his
know who his
daddy.
father was.
But he didn't know who he was. But I'm saying he knew that there was something missing. And this is the thing about it. Kurt Franklin has a son, and I'm telling you, the relationship with that son is toe up. Because we just in the last year, I think, realized
That's right.
through a tape that was leaked that him and his son, they're throwing down hard. His son has a lot of issues. Kurt Franklin has tried to get counseling for the family. It's just a really bad situation. It's not, it's nothing nice, nothing to laugh about. It's just something that seems like it's very hard when you have a son and you all are not connecting. Kurt Franklin was on the daggone phone, and the words that was coming out of his mouth, I can't even utter.
Miss Cynthia, when you started looking at all these folks who supposed to be, quote, quote, allegedly, supposed to be icons in the spotlight. And because they supposed to be icons in the spotlight, then you turn around, they have a rough life. Their life is gone down the drain. For the next 50 years, Franklin thought he was the man who abandoned him and his mother.
Yes.
But in his recent documents, he realized that he couldn't be more wrong. A singer who worked with Franklin on his album approached him about a man she met at a funeral.
Well, we're not going to talk about that yet. I want to say what Destiny said. She said she watched his son, and she's a fan of his music. So this child of Kurt is very talented, just like Kurt Franklin, but it's dysfunctional. He has a dysfunctional life. Everybody got a little dysfunction in the family, but they have not been able to really come together with this child. He's grown now. but it's just been a really, really bad relationship. Fast forward, because Mr. E want to get to it, and Destiny, she mentioned it too. She was talking about the mom
You
and
know,
how something took place and brought his mom, his real mom, into the picture. Mr. E, you was getting ready to say that there was an event or something that took place,
a
and
funeral.
somebody,
A funeral. It was a funeral, and
yeah,
somebody came to Kurt and say, "Look, I know who your family members are. I know who your daddy is. I I
but
I,
he didn't say it. That they didn't. They didn't say. They said. Did they say it like that? Did they say that? No, I know what it was. Kurt said that in his documentary says that the person told him that somebody at the funeral was saying that he had dated Kurt's mom. He
well,
had dated, and people's curiosity. Kurt, his curiosity got the best of him. He was like, "What? What are you saying?" And so he sought out this person. And don't you know, the man was about, I think he said, Kurt said he was about 10 minutes away from
the
the
studio.
studio. The man lived right there. And what happened, Mr. E?
Miss Hinton. I look at when I look at this story. It's really a tall tale story for me because I see that Kurt is trying to find his father at the age of 53 years old.
Mhm.
What about early in his life did it ever dawned on him that he was an adopted child? What about these are some of the questions that I wanted to know. What about when he was growing up, when he was growing up as a little boy, growing up at the age of 10 and 11, uh, about him? Where was what about him and his lifestyle? Did
He
he
said that
ever,
he had issues. I think that's what was something that was missing, he says in the documentary. He knew that if he had stability in his life, he would have made better choices. He would have been able to, he probably wouldn't have been, in the crisis with his family like he was. He just felt like he needed something and needed something more. And so, like you said, somebody called him, he says in the documentary. You all go check out the documentary because he's saying that he was told that there's someone at that funeral talking and saying, I dated Kurt Franklin's mother.
wow. You
Dated.
Miss Hinton, this is what gets me so much because there's a whole lot of stories about this. In the CBN, it says this. It's in a compelling document. Franklin shares his journey on meeting his biological father for the first time in 53 years. Franklin talked about his history of trauma, sharing how he grew up raised by a distant relative, not knowing who his father was, and only seeing his mother a few times a year. I would see my biological mother, Deborah, maybe once or twice, he explained. When you see your biological parents 2 or 3 times a year, it's scary. It's scarred that never get to heal because when they leave, they are ripping the scar. So you grow up with a lot of rejective issues. You grow up with a lot of why am I not good enough to go with you? He continues. So
Well, stop
continue.
there, Mr. E, because that's critical. Because a lot of people, men, women, and children, when they're not raised by their real family or a parent or what, that's some of the things they question. It's like, wait a minute, you can't raise me, why not? Or where were you? Or why did you raise this group, and leave me out? We've seen that a lot. A woman may have a child and grandma may raise him or him or her. But then mom has a whole set of other children and she's raising them, but the other one has been left out. And so, then you have those issues. They begin to wonder why not? They start feeling unstable and unsure. They can't get answers, and we're going to talk about that in a minute.
But listen,
Can't get real answers, and they're searching and they're hurting and they're still wondering and they're still trying to get a grip on a solid rock and solid foundation, and it's ripped from under them. Let's go ahead.
he told People magazine that at the age of 6, he was introduced to a man his biological mother said was his biological
Absolutely.
father.
That's what I heard too.
He said, I didn't see him again until I was 13. His mother said, this is your daddy.
Woo!
His biological mother told him at the age of 6, this is your pappy. This is your daddy. This is the man that is your daddy. And he said, I didn't see him again until I was 13. And then he started showing up at concerts after my first album came up. He told the outlet, I was angry at the fact that I did not have a father, and he would dare show up once my life seems to have some sense of order. Same for my biological mother. In other words, he said this, that his parents didn't show up until he started making the big time. He's saying that his people, regardless of who they was, and then he said this, and this is what makes the story to me so crazy, because he said every now and then, once or twice a year, that he would see his biological mother.
Yes.
Once or twice a year. And then his mother told him when he turned at the age of 6 that he was introduced to his biological father, his biological mother at the age of 6, and his biological father at the age of 6 years old.
I tell you what.
And he didn't see him no more. And then he said when he turned 13, then he started showing up that his daddy. I didn't see him again until I was 13, and then he started showing up at concerts.
I tell you what, isn't that a mess? But let's move the story on a little bit. Kurt,
so he's saying that his people was pimping him for his money.
Well, I didn't hear him say that, but maybe that's what he meant. But they did. He's saying they showed up.
That's right.
At the right time. And they, I guess, when you got the fish and the loaves, sometimes people do show up. But let's go on, because Kurt got a chance to meet the man that at the funeral that said that he had dated the mom. But we've got to find out, and you all in the chat, tell me what you all think. If the man that mom said, the first guy, was the biological father, what made Kurt get that unction from just somebody saying that somebody dated mommy?
That's right.
He must not believe that was his real father. What y'all think?
If mama said that was your daddy, then mama, she should know, shouldn't she?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. What made him like, something went off, bell, something went off in his head and said, wait a minute, somebody's calling me. I guess it was the person that called the mediator and says, listen, somebody in here, you need to see her.
He said, he turned around and said that Franklin said his career took off. His mother started showing up. It was very traumatic for me, he said. The rocky relationship with the man Franklin thought was his father continued until he died in 2017. Absolutely. The man that he thought was his daddy is dead.
Absolutely.
The man that his mama said is your father is dead in 2017. Absolutely. And now he said, I buried the man I thought was my father. He shared in a document titled Father's Day at Kurt Franklin Stewart. I flew to Houston and made peace to him. Franklin continued his life believing that his father was dead.
Absolutely.
Until early this year, one of his vocalists attended a funeral in his hometown. At the funeral, she met a man who claimed he dated Franklin's mama at one point.
At one point.
At one point. So Franklin is already thinking that his daddy is dead.
Absolutely.
He said, I buried my father. Now, what makes this vocalist go back after Franklin done said he buried his daddy? What make him inquisitive to open up the case again, to open up Pandora's box? What made him think that for 1 second that the mama don't know? Mama might have been on drugs. It doesn't say.
Who knows? We don't know.
But he said the rumor began to swirl that this man named Richard Hubbard could be his father.
Absolutely, yeah.
DNA results show that 99.9% is true.
Well, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so he met the man, he got together, and he, for some reason, and this is what's so weird about it, Mr. E. This man didn't have a clue that he had a son. He tells in the documentary that, wait a minute now, who, what? This is the thing. But he was gracious enough to Kurt to take a DNA test. Something about the conversation that they had convinced the man to say, okay, let me go ahead and take this DNA test. And he took the test. And the test, like you said, was 99.59 or 95, whatever. He saw the DNA test, and we see it in the documentary, and the man is blown away. The man is just like, what is this? I never knew. I didn't know. Didn't nobody ever tell me? I had not a child nor chick.
You know, Miss Hinton, when you talk about that, why he didn't take, when he found out his dad, his mama introduced him to his biological father, why he didn't do a DNA test then?
I don't know, but I tell
why
you what,
see,
he might, and in my opinion, Mr. E, he might not have been convinced back then.
But
he might not have been, because I'm saying, what would compel him to take a DNA test with this man if he was convinced back then that he was absolutely sure this was his dad? I want to say good evening to Mr. Mark Howard. Thank you so much for joining us. But let's move on, because I'm telling you, Mr. E, this is where the juice comes in.
I would do some investigation. I have to say that.
Wait a minute. This is where the juice come in now. Y'all tell me if this ain't juicy. There was another test taken. But why was that other test taken? Because Kurt was so excited and happy that he had found his dad. And you'll see in the documentary where they are hugging, embracing, crying. It's something in his soul and his heart that was just so glad that I finally, after 50-something years, found the man that I came from. Can you imagine? You know, the biological mother, but that missing piece. And, you know, I really think, Mr. E, that it is so deep to him, because he has a son that he is not in commune with. They're not together. They're dysfunctional. Can you imagine him, you know, reconciling and getting together? His thoughts of getting together with the father that he didn't know was his father. And, you know, just thinking about the past, thinking about now, thinking about the future, and really, really, really coming to grips with my life has changed. Let me finish with this, and I'm going to let you say something. So the real tea is this. This brother is parading around. He probably got a marching band and all kind. He probably writing songs and all that stuff. And he go to mama. Mama, I found my daddy. I found my daddy. And mama, he said, I got the DNA. We have embraced. We killed the fatted calf. We put the rings on. We just went on and we had a time. You'll see it in the documentary. And mama sits there like she pure teaspoon. The tea and the tea he and mama sat back there and said, son, what you talking about? He is not. He is not the father. Mr. E, what happens? Kurt is like, what? Mama, what you talking about, Willis? He said, look, mama, I'm trying to tell you, okay, mama, okay, you my mama, but mama, I tell you what, I'm going to do another one. Let me do another, let's do another one. We're going to be sure of this thing because I don't want to get food for Nagel and used. The brother took another test, Mr. E.
For a different man.
Huh?
For a different man.
What you mean a different man?
Well, see, you know, he already found that was his daddy, right?
Yeah, so he took the same test.
Okay.
He took another test with the same man. It came back 99.9. It came back and the test said you be the father. But
Listen.
the tea, get your cups and start, getting your tea bag. Sister girl sat right there. You all gonna see it in the documentary and says, son, he ain't your father.
That's
right.
right.
Will never be your father. Will never be your father. I'm gonna go to the grave and let you know that this man ain't your father.
Your daddy dead. Your daddy dead.
Your daddy's in the grave.
Here's the tea that I want.
But don't go past that, Mr. E, because I want to ask you, because we've had this topic on our show. If somebody comes to you with 99.99% that you be the father, why in the world would you sit back and say that this man ain't the father?
You know, see, when I began to look and I read a little bit about the story, watch this. It says, it captured the emotion of first meeting father and son. It said, he didn't know he had a son. And he said, I didn't know I had a father. Franklin said, Hubbard, who was 14 or 15 years old when he was born.
14
or 15 years old when he was born.
Where you get that from? Who was 14?
This is.
Wait a minute, who was 14, Mr. E?
That Hubbard.
Hubbard who?
The daddy.
Mr. E, go on and Google that again.
Listen to me.
Google it.
At CBN
That
News.
right.
He
14
said
years old, a little boy.
It says the document captured the emotion of first meeting of the father and the son. He didn't even know that he had a son. I didn't even know that I had a father. Franklin said of Hubbard, who was 14 and 15 when he was born, I was that close to having a daddy, or Franklin was 14 or 15 years old when he went.
You giving us some scrambling. I want you to Google how old he was.
It blew my mind.
If you could Google and find out if anybody in the chat knows how old he was when he allegedly was the baby daddy. When he what I'm saying is, if you're saying that Mr. Hubbard was 14 years old, I don't know. It's just something about that. Let's find out how old he was. It's just something. I don't know. I can't. That's some tea. That's some tea that don't sound. You stirring up some tea now, if that's the truth. But let's find out the truth, because we don't want to put no lie out here. We got a disclaimer. This FYI, we're just having a good time after dark. We are reporting on a documentary that Kurt Franklin has out there telling about his life and the fact that he discovered his daddy, twice took the DNA test, 99 points, so many points of him acknowledging that, yes, through science, biology, that this man be the father. But guess what? The real tea he is, Mama said, I don't care what you say. He ain't the baby daddy. When you all sit there and see that part, you're not going to even believe it yourself. Because, most of the time, Mr. E, we believe science. We believe the test. And we're trying to wrap our mind around the fact that, wait a minute here. How is it that he's got to be the father? 99 point something percent. He's got to be the father. But I'm telling you, Mama is sitting back, and in a sense, she's kind of convincing too.
That's right.
Because she'll make you think, she'll make you question the fact that, wait a minute, Mama was there.
That's right.
That man won't. This is a mystery.
That's what I'm saying.
But I am curious to know how old his daddy was when he allegedly had him. And I wonder what's going to happen. So to sum this up, Kurt in the documentary says, Mommy. One of them says, is this going to change our relationship? Because I think Mom says to Kurt, because I won't give you this. And Kurt said, this going to change things, Mama. You won't give me this. And Mr. E, I think you read it. The first thing you read was, wherein he just wanted a father. He just wanted his father. Mom could not give him that one thing that he wanted.
Listen to me. Let me give you this. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead, Mr.
The documentary captured an emotional first meeting between the stars and Hubbard, who was 14 or 15 years old when Franklin was born, and said he never knew he fathered a child at that time.
But wait a minute, don't go past that. But Mr. E, that's a good point. You are telling me that a child, the child had a child.
The first daddy died in 217. So now we find another fella by the name of Richard Hubbard, who is Kurt, lived down the street from Kurt and was 14 or 15 years old when Kurt was born.
Allegedly. I'm too nervous. I'm too scared to say that. But we're going to do a little research because we want to really find out if that's what it is. But then it makes sense, Mr. E, that he didn't know. Why would a 14-year-old, sit around and have a baby? If nobody's telling him that they're pregnant, nobody telling him that he's had a baby, then something is not right. And so we're going to keep looking.
Let's back up one time. Let's back up.
Yes.
Now, when we begin to look at life at those times, that people was having babies early. Now, they could have been.
What time? It's not 100 years ago now. It's
13.
I'm sorry. No, my grandmother time they were having 13 and 12.
My mind is messed up now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I found out that at 64 years old, that's how old Mr. Hubbard was when he found out, when Kurt and them got together. Kurt was 53 and the man is 64. Now,
you tell me like what you call it? Felix and his daddy. Felix 9 and his daddy 7. It don't add up.
Now the man is 64 and 53. That means 64 minus 53. That means that the mom and dad, that the man was 11 years old when the mama got pregnant.
Oh, okay. Now I'm getting sick. My tea bag is solid.
If you do the math, now right now,
Mr. E, can we gonna have to confirm that? That's a little spooky. Now, are you sure?
Listen, let me go back and find how old is Kurt's father. When I looked it up, Miss Hinton, and I know how old is Richard Hubbard now, Kurt's father.
Let me tell you something.
When I looked it up, and it said how old was Richard Hubbard, and Kurt was 53 years old when he found out about his new daddy.
And his daddy's how old?
And his daddy is 60 some years old. 64 years old.
Mr. E, Mr. E,
Listen,
look up,
listen, I'm
look up,
looking at another
look up,
piece of art. I'm
look
looking
up.
at another piece.
Mr. E, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Look up. Can you look up?
I'm looking up.
You stirring up some tea now. Now you ain't just serving that tea. You pure tea stirring it up. Now that's some tea right there. What do you mean 11 years old?
Listen, Miss Hinton, when you do the math, when you do the math of math at Rickett, here's another
Say
version that I
allegedly.
saw. Let me go to the Hollywood version. It is
We don't know if that's true lies or what. Don't go down that road. We're
Miss
gonna sum
Hinton,
it up because we got to talk about our community against bullying.
let me find out how his daddy is.
No. Mr. E, just give a little bit about 1 minute because this is a story that Kurt, I hope in the documentary we get the answers that we need. I'm very curious. You all can check it out yourself. Kurt is telling it. He's being very open about it. And, and I'm glad he is because, like I said, there are a lot of people, and we've done the story too on our show, You Are Not the Father. And, it just, we really want to show compassion to families and situations where people are without their parents, but they want and need the love of a parent. They need that security. And so, he's not just, talking, loud and serving tea. He's talking about his life. And so we want to find out a little bit more later on. I think you said October the 6th, when the documentary comes out, to see how it goes. I even want to, Mr. E, if we can, go ahead and resurrect our the segment of You Are Not the Father and talk a little bit more about how people discover how it affects children that, of fathers and mothers that find out that, hey, I thought that was my father all this time. And the courts finally told me, hey, this is not my daddy or this is not my mother. And I need help to get back to feeling sane after something like this. That's a little bit, Misty, maybe a minute.
When I dig into the story and when I see what's going on, something is not right with this story.
But I hope you're not going to Hollywood to find out.
No, I'm not going to Hollywood. I was at People's to find out, but they have not given me the. They said that when Kurt really found out that he was 53 years old when Kurt found out. I read somewhere that if Kurt was 53 years old, 53 years old, then his daddy right now is 64. But when I look back over the tour, the man said he at 14 and 15 years old, he didn't know he had a child.
Well, we're going to wait to hear what the deal is with the age and how all this come about. But this is the main thing that I'm thinking of. Kurt says that, it has affected the relationship between him and his mom. He just really wanted to have this. This was something that he longed and yearned for, to know his father. I hope it pans out that this is the father. And maybe, mom will come clean or come out with more information to satisfy Kurt of why she felt the need to tell him after 2 DNA tests that he was not the father, that his daddy is not his daddy. And so let's see what happens. Not only do I want to follow the journey of what's going to happen with his dad, but his son, because this to me, after I saw what happened with his son, to me, it was a sad thing. Social media took it and they just went on and everybody was appalled and they looked at Kurt but Kurt is living it and his son is living it. We are hoping and praying for reconciliation. We're hoping and praying that, they get help. We're hoping and praying that things do pan out for families. We don't want to see families not being able to, really come together. And we know sometimes they don't. But I'm saying in this situation, hopefully something that he has longed for will affect him in a positive way, where it can affect him and his son in a positive way.
And that's what
Go ahead, Missy.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for healing. Because when we look at it, this thing about you are not the father, that
Yes.
I'm learning who my father is. And at an early age, when you had to walk alone without a father,
Yes.
not knowing who my father is, and you had to be raised by your auntie or your cousin Gertrude. And when there is no discipline, when there is no man in the house, then you feel like you can do whatever you want to do. Kurt said in a previous reading that he was a bully, that he was a bully, and then he was crucified because he had a baby that he knocked up a girl. He
Yes.
impregnated a woman at the age of 17 years old.
But don't you see how things just come back? Here he is dysfunctional with his son. He had the son early, and then here it is a dysfunctional. It's just how our lives pan out. Sometimes the same situation, the same mistakes. Sometimes we make and like we said, we're hoping that things will pan out, things will iron out. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but I believe you said on October 6th, the documentary is going to come out. The music is going to come out. It'll give us a glimpse. He probably, saved the ending for us, now, and maybe we'll get a better understanding. Maybe mom will come around and say, listen, okay, y'all got me. Y'all got me. But then, Mr. E, if the tea you just served that boy was a little boy, I don't know. We got to find out. But in saying that, you just mentioned that what you call it was a bully allegedly. That's what we're going to be talking about just for a few minutes. Our community against bullying, a call to action now. That's Crystal Community Development Corporation anti-bullying rally that's going to take place October the 21st in Chesapeake, Virginia, 1765 South Military Highway at 11 o'clock a.m. We want to see you there.
That's right. We want to see you there. You need to mark that date. My God, it's going to be pandemonium in that place. It's going to be a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom that you grab hold of. You're going to be able to identify some things that you would never, ever thought could happen in one's life. You're going to be able to understand what a bully is all about. You will be able to recognize once you go back home, and there are going to be some scenarios that you're going to see about a bully. You ever thought about for 1 second that your son was left home with your baby boy? You ever seen the little boy always complaining, Johnny hit me, Johnny hit me? Well, you told Johnny that he was the daddy when you're not home, that Johnny was the boss. When you're not home, he takes control. And by any means necessary, Johnny gonna do what he has to do in order for you to obey and to mind him. And when that happened, it caused Johnny to be a bully. Now you growing up and you think that's the way it's supposed to be, and now you treating everybody the way that your brother treated you. So come on out to Crystal Community Community Development Corporation on October the 21st at 11 a.m. Our community against bullying, a call to action now. Come on, let's stop bullying. That's September the 17th at South Military Highway. Listen, you ought to register today. You ought to email us today and said, I'll be there by going to Crystal, Ciara, ISTO Community, COMMUNITY at Cox.net. Call that number 757. Pick up the phone right now. Call that number 757-470-0224. Let me give it to you and let me be slow about it. Call that number 757-470-0224. Dial that number now, and I want you to be able to tell them, I'm going to be at that rally. I want to register today. There at the rally, you're going to find that there's a banner competition. That's right. Mm-hmm. Your young folks can compete in a banner competition by drawing or making a banner that they can parade around and let the judges judge about this bully, this thing called bullying, from their perspective, from their idea. Bullying happens everywhere. And not only that, you can pick up the books. Miss Hinton will tell you more.
Absolutely. First of all, the banner competition, their prizes. First place, $150. Second place, $100. Third place, $75. You all have to come out with your banner. You all have to come with your group. You can have a school group. You can have a church group. You can have an after school group. You can have a daycare group. But bring your kids out with the banner and let's just bless someone. We will give you some of the things that we're going to go on and how it's going to play out. We just need you all to come out. Make sure you go to www.bulvickacademy.com. You can actually register there. Click on Crystal Community Corporation, scroll all the way down where the banner and the flyer is, and you can just register by putting your information in the contact information, and we will have you there. Now, this is a free event. And so we want you to come out. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have panel discussion. We're going to have a breakout with the youth and breakout with adults. We're going to have pizza and a dialogue. We're going to have entertainment, DJ. We're going to have giveaways. And I will be there with my 2 books. Bullying is Right Underneath Your Nose, and The Diary of a Former Bully, along with the presentation about Bulvick, which is one of my newest projects. And it is a game app. You can get it right now, actually, if you go to your Google store on your Android, and you can go to apple.com for your iPad and iPhone. Right now, you can do that. You can also get the book online at bulvickacademy.com, BULVIC, and you can get the book with hard copy. You can get the book Audible. You can get it in Spanish. You can get it in English. And there are so many wonderful things to come. So we want you to make sure you tell other folk, bring your youngers out, bring your youth groups out, bring yourselves out, pass the word around. Look and like our public service announcements and our petitions. Make sure you sign the petition, but make sure you come out to the event. That's October the 21st. 2023, 11 o'clock a.m. in Chesapeake, Virginia, 1765 South Military Highway at 11 a.m. Please meet us. No, beat us there. We want you to be there. So, Mr. E, we're going to be back here on Wednesday with FYI Radio Morning Show, What's Under the Hat, Issues Concerning Men. And we're going to have a great time there. We want you all to meet us there. Mr. E's going to tell you how you can actually sponsor, who you can reach out to sponsor the anti-bullying rally, or FYI. He's going to tell you if you can intern. He's going to tell you how to be a special guest as well.
If you'd like to be a special guest or a sponsor of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, all you have to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861 or inbox us at Edward Everett's Facebook page, Miss Yolanda the Lady Hinton's Facebook page, FYI Facebook page, or you can email us at FYIRadioShowLive@gmail.com. If you'd like to be a special guest at the most talked about radio show after dark, you can do the same. That's right. All you have to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861. Or you can email us at FYIRadioShowLive@gmail.com. And don't forget, we want to see you at our community against bullying. A call to action now. If you look on the left side right here, you'll see the address. That's right. You'll see the address, 1765 South Military Highway in the city of Chesapeake, Virginia. That's October the 21st at 11 a.m. If you want to email us, that's right. If you want to email us, all you have to do is go to Crystal, Cristo Community, COMMUNITY at Cox.net and say, I'll be there. I'll be there. Or you can call 757-470-0224.
Absolutely. I tell you what, it's been a great time with you all. We serve some tea. We're not getting pleasure out of anybody's downfall or hurt or pain. But we are going to report on what's going on in the atmosphere and what we should be concerned about. And so we want you to continue to follow us. We're getting ready to go. It's getting a little bit late, but we thank you so much for tuning in, and we thank you for your support. Mr. E, take it away.
Listen, don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 on WPCE 1400, WGPL 1350, WMVA 88.9 Joy, WWW Peace 95.3 FM. And don't forget to join us on the World Wide Web by going to www.christianbroadcastingcompany.com, and you can click and listen live. Don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Listen, we're going on 8 years now, and we've been serving you nothing but the best. And what we want to do, we will continue to serve you the best. Listen, come on out. Come on out to Crystal Community, a call to action now. Our community against bullying. That's 757-470-0224, or you can email us. That's right. Or you can email us at crystalcommunity@cox.net. That's CRISTO Community, COMMUNITY @cox.net. If you'd like to be a special guest of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, all you have to do is go to FYI Radio Show Live at gmail.com and inbox us and let us know you would like to be a special guest. All right? Thank you.
Absolutely. I don't know if you all going to look at the game tonight, but there's a game tonight. Mr. E, you're going to be plugged in and checking out the game.
I'm going to be plugged in and checking out the game. I might check out the game, Miss Hinton, but guess what? My team is not playing, so I want to say, go Cowboys. You did a wonderful job. So, hey, listen, I want everybody to know that if my team ain't playing, I'll be sitting there watching somebody else's team and, and enjoying it, okay? That's what I'll be doing. So, hey, have a wonderful day now.
Well, I tell you what, good evening again. Thank you for joining us. You all, look, if you are interested in serving some tea with us, you all need to come on Monday evenings and serve some tea. Or if you're interested in uplifting our community and just being inspirational and, motivational, you can join us then too. We got a lot of great topics that we're going to cover, a lot of great panels on our After Dark show. We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about hate. We're going to talk about relationship. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about whatever. We're going to talk about it. So we'll see you on Wednesday. Join us at 9:30 on Peace 95.3 FM. WPCE 1400, WGPL 1350, WMVA 88.9 FM, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We'll see you there. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening.
2 up, 2 down, the act.